Hello there. Welcome to your Java tutorial. So what are we going to be talking about today? We're going to be talking about Claire. Seriously? How long will you go on with this? Unbelievable. We're going to be talking about collections. So collections are used to collect things or to store things. So the simplest thing you can think of is an array. And if you have no experience with arrays, this video might be a little bit much, but I encourage you to stick with it, and it's more about getting practice. So whatever you can do for the day, that's what I encourage you to do. So to get everybody on the same page, check out my 30 days of Java Git repository where you can find my code. And from the last video, I put this test in here just to show you guys. We're not gonna be needing that anymore. I don't want to pollute our computer and GitHub with this, so we're going to remove that. So in Eclipse, all we gotta do is we just got to remove this project and just click delete, and you'll want to make sure you say delete project contents on disk. Okay, great. So now we just have that one project we're working with, and what we'll need to do is we'll need to update our repository. So I don't know if there is an embedded terminal inside of Eclipse. If there is, that'd be nice, but if not, we'll just go to an external terminal. Conveniently had that open. So make sure you open the terminal and travel to our Git repository, which for me is right here, Eclipse Workspace. And that's going to have all of my projects in here. Right now I just have one, but you can say Git status. Let me zoom out. Wow, it's just way too close. So we have this deleted, so we're just going to commit that. So we'll say git add, git commit, delete. So often as a convention, git commits will be like, what is it, like active or present tense? I don't know. I didn't do very good in English, but you wouldn't say deleted, you would say delete. So as if you're doing it right now. So present tense, delete. What did we delete? We deleted junk. Press enter, and then we'll just say git push origin master. Sorry, that was a little fast. I know you guys are supposed to be following along, but you can back up if you missed anything. So now we should be able to go over into our GitHub, do a refresh, and see that it's gone. So that's exactly what we wanted. So we're on the right track. All right, so now let's talk a little bit about collections. And what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna get rid of this stuff. And we might still use a scanner. I'm thinking about, yeah. We're also going to get rid of this print line. We're not gonna need that anymore. And we might end up saving the scanner for later, but I'm just gonna keep that here because I'm terrible at remembering that syntax for some reason. So I'm just gonna keep that so I don't have to worry about it. All right, so the very first type of collection that you should know about is an array. If you've worked with pretty much any programming language, they're going to have some concept of an array. Yeah, so I'm using a book for reference. This is Core Java. You can look it up on Amazon. I'll try to remember to put a link in the description. If you buy it using my affiliate links, I think I get like millions of dollars or something like that. So go do that. Now, when you create an array, you can do it like so. We'll start with an integer array, and we'll call it grades. And we'll just declare like so. And you can do it that way, or alternatively, you can do it like so. We'll call this one scores with the square brackets here. Now, if you come from C programming, you're probably familiar with this. In Java, I think the preference is to do it like this. And that's actually what I prefer. Then it's really clear up front that it's an integer array. This one, I think it's a little bit easy to confuse and say, oh, we're working with an integer. But haha, secretly, it's actually an array. Gotcha. So we don't want to do that. We just want to work with the normal one. So I think you'll do new int square brackets, and you're going to put a size here. So such as 5. So just as an example, here's what I want to do. I want to say in dot, what is it? Get. Dot next line, and we're going to assign this to an integer size. And we're going to get an error because there is a type conflict. Type mismatch cannot convert from string to int. So one thing you can do is you can convert it from a string to an integer, but an easier way to do it is to just, instead of doing .next line, do .next int right there. So that'll get an integer, exactly what we want. Awesome. And then for this number here, we can actually use that variable size. Also, does it just bother you that there's like this here from the last run? It just drives me crazy. I don't know how to clear it out though. Okay, it doesn't want to go away, so whatever. But we can get rid of that. We don't need that. All right, now what I want to do is I want to get these values. We can get them from input, so that's what we'll start with, and then maybe we can try to get them from a file. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that closing and put it down here, so that way we don't close it too early, and we're going to do a loop. We'll do a for loop. And what we're going to do is we're going to say int I is 0, I is less than size, I++. This is how you will iterate 5 times, or I'm thinking 5 because that's like the first number I think of, but this is actually a general number. Whatever size is, that's how many iterations we will do. And then all you do is you say grades, index of I is equal to in.nextLine. No, not has next line. Did I say has next line? No, I said next line. What's your problem? Okay, same thing. We need to get integers, so next int. Beautiful. Okay, so let's just, actually we'll need to output this as well. So we can close the input and we'll do another for loop. I'll just copy this one because it's gonna be really similar. And we're gonna paste that down here. And instead of having this line, what we'll do is we'll say sys out. And what we're going to output is going to be grades index I. Let's run this. All right, so we didn't put a system out at the beginning, which would probably be best practice. So what we'll do is we'll do that right here. We'll say sys out. So we'll just say enter. Then we'll put the size. No, then we'll say numbers. Use something like press enter after each. That way they know exactly what to do. So if you guys don't like that it scrolls like that, I think you can turn word wrap on, which I actually like. So where would that be? Toggle word wrap. It's under window editor, toggle word wrap. There we go. So that'll just bring that down to the next line. It's still on line 12 technically, but it just allows us to visualize it a little bit easier. All right. So we also got to do an output for the size. So we'll just ask, give us a size. All right, let's run it and see what we get. Give us a size. All right, I'm gonna say 5. Enter 5 numbers. Press enter after each. 3, 5, 6, 7, and 10. And if you scroll up a little bit, or if you drag this up so you can see more, you will see that after we put those input values, it outputs them back to us. So it iterates through that array and spits those back out. So that is how we do it from user input, but I want to look into getting input from a file. Maybe that's something we should save for a whole video just to talk about file input and output. Nah, let's not do that. Let's do it right now. That just makes more sense for me because I want to do it now and I'm trying to make this more on the fly. So why try to do a dedicated video for that? We might later, but for now, let's just get what we need to make this read from a text file. How to read from a text file in Java. Oh, is it still recording? Crap. So I am on this geeksforgeeks.org article on different ways of reading a text file in Java. I scanned through this and I personally believe the one that's going to be the easiest for us to pick up is number 3 because it's very similar to what we're doing. because we're going to be using the scanner class. So taking a look at our Java program once more, we have this scanner here called in, and we're getting it from system.in. But what if instead of getting it from the console there, we just gave it a file? It's going to work very similarly, and that's what we're going to do. So looking at the code in the Geeks for Geeks article, you can see what they're doing here. They have this scanner, and they're passing in this file object, and this is where they're creating that object. And it has a path. So there might be an overload that takes this path directly, so you don't have to do that extra step. What if you could just pass that path in here instead of making this whole new object? So let's go check out, check if that's the case. So what we would do is just say, if you get rid of this and hold Control Shift and press space, you can see the overload options. Now I am on a Mac. If you're on Windows, you might need to figure out what the shortcut is. Research project for you guys. Looking through here, one of these is actually a string. Aha! So I think we can actually make the example on the article even simpler by just passing in a string right here. And even simpler, you don't have to use a complete path. You can see they give the complete path all the way from the C drive, which I don't even know, that wouldn't be the same for Mac. But we can actually use a relative file path, and then it'll just grab it from the same folder. So let's look at that, what that might look like. We'll go in here and we'll just slow down, Caleb. We're going to put a file just like test.txt. And most of this is going to change. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so we can see everything. We're going to get rid of, yeah, let's get rid of everything. And then we'll just say in.close. All right, cool. So let's just see what we can do with this. Once we have that scanner, we can say in dot, and there's all different kinds of methods we can invoke to work with this, this scanner object. So for example, if you type in line, there's next line, which is going to give you the line itself in type string. There's has next line, which is going to be true or false, telling you if there is another line, and you can use that for a loop to keep checking if there's more data. So that's actually what they do in this code over here. It says while has next line, we're just going to read whatever that line is. So let's just try that. So we'll say in dot has next line. We need to put that in an if statement, so something like that. Then what we'll do is we'll just say in dot next line. That's going to give us a string, so we can take that and put it inside of a system out. Fun. Awesome. So basically we're saying, hey, if the file has another string or another line, then I just want to output it to the console. So in theory, it should copy the text file and put it in the console. But it's not, because test.txt does not exist. So let's run it, see what we get. We get nothing. Well, we get test.txt, which is interesting. Oh, let's check that overload. Make sure it's actually what we're looking for. Maybe we can look up scanner constructor overloads and see, yeah, see if that's doing what we're looking for. Yeah, it should. Yeah, let's look up scanner constructors and see what we can find. Scanner constructor overloads Java. Nope. All right, let's just look up scanner class in Java. Yeah, let's go to the Oracle docs. Aha! I got you. All right, here's what we need to do. We need to prefix it with new file. That's the issue. So I think what's going on here is when we have just a string like this, it's literally just taking that as if that's where we're taking data from. So it just reads it and it says test.text. So I could go in here and put extra data in here, more, and yes. And then when we run this, we should get like 3 lines down here. Save. Oh, that's because we're doing an if. We need to do a while. So while there is data, we're going to print. Run, and you can see we get the test.text, which is the first thing. Then we have a new line character, another new line character. Then we have more, and then yes. So the \n is just to go to the next line. So instead of doing that, what we need to do is we basically need to mimic, and go back a couple of steps. Mimic this here, but we don't actually have to assign it to a new object. You certainly could if that helps you think about it. So what we'll do is we'll just say new file and put the whole thing in parentheses. So I think that's pretty clean. We might need to capitalize, yeah. And then import file from java.io. Yeah. Okay, now complaining about exceptions because in theory it's not gonna work. So we'll just say add throws declaration, which basically says, hey, we know, and the main method might throw an exception because this breaks, but we're not worrying about it right now. All right, let's run it and we'll see what happens. Since we don't have that file, it's not gonna work. And we get an exception. Oh, surprise, right? Wasn't seeing that one coming. So let's go into our folders. What is that? And I think we'll just put it right in with mysweetprogram.java. So we'll right click, new untitled text file. And then we just gotta save it. So let's put some stuff in here. Maybe let's make this students. So we have a student named Caleb, we have a student named Rebecca, and we have a student named John. Save this, and we're just gonna call this, let's call it students.txt. Yeah, obviously I want it to go in here. All right, and then we're going to put this in the source folder. All right. Let's go back to our Java program and run it and see what we get. Tis broke. Oh, duh, dude. Oh my gosh. I'm like dumbfounded why this isn't working. I even like took a break for a second. It's because the text file names are not the same. So, wow, okay. Students.text. All right, let's try it now. Run. And it's still broken. Students.text. Why are you not working? Nah. Something like this. Where is the local directory for relative path in Eclipse? All right, so this guy's 2009 New Year's resolution is to learn Java. He's way ahead of you guys. Come on, step up your game. All right, let's just see. Move the file up to the root directory of your project and just use this. So the problem is that source or bin is not where you put the text file. You actually put it in the same folder where source and bin is stored. So you would put it in my sweet program. So I'm going to take this students.text, drag it up, and then I'm actually going to get rid of it in bin. So delete that. So this is where it goes. Or alternatively, you could have put a source / and then your text file. That would have worked as well. So let's, I don't know which one's better. Well, would you want to put it in source or would you want to put, I don't know if it matters. So I'm just going to leave it where it is and we'll see if it causes problems later on. So let's run this. Yes. Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah, that feels good. So this is going directly from the file right into the output. But let's make another step, and that step is going to be to store it in a collection of some sort. Now, for when you don't know the size, I think it's nice to use a collection that is dynamic and can increase in size. And the one that catches my brain is a list. So let's do that. And if you haven't worked with lists, but you've worked with arrays, I'm gonna make your life 60 times easier because arrays are terrible and lists are awesome. So what we're gonna do is we're going to say list, and then inside of less than and greater than, little alligator symbols, you're going to put the data type, which is going to be string. Now, if you're using, and the reason it's string is because we're storing names. If you want to use ints, for example, you'll need to use the class variation. So we'll say list of type integer, and you can look up why if you want. I don't really know why, you just have to, but it should work pretty much the same way. Then what you do is you give it a name. We'll say students, and then what we'll do is we'll say new list of type string, and then parentheses. And actually, instead of list, you want array list on the right side, and you can use list on the left side. But you're going to hover over these and you're going to import list from java.util, not com.suntools.javac.util, not that one, java.util. So right here. Then you're going to do the same thing for array list. So hover over that and import array list java.util. So we have them both right here. Now, the difference between list and array list, maybe a little bit much for this video, but list is the interface, the array list is the implementation. So basically, when we create an array list, it meets all of the requirements to be considered a list. And that is how interfaces work, but we'll get into that later on. Just for now, know that we're creating a list like so. And then all you have to do to add a person to this list is say students.add and then pass in the value. So we could actually pass in whatever we get from the file, like so, semicolon, and that'll add it to the list. Then when we're done, we want to pull all of those items back out. You can use a for loop or you can use a for each loop. We're just going with the for loop for right now because that's what we've been using. And I don't feel like explaining anymore because this video is already really long. So, and I is 0, I is less than students dot size. There we go. I++. So that'll go through each student, and then all we have to do is say sysout. And just so you guys know it's coming from here, we'll just put a prefixed name there. And yeah, then we just say plus to append. And what are we gonna append? We're gonna do students.get and pass in the index I. So it starts at 0 and it goes through each of the elements, getting the student and putting it in the system.out.println. So let's run it. Oh, yeah, save. And look, it outputs name is Caleb, name is Rebecca, and the name is John. We did it, guys. We got input from a file, we put it in an array list, and we outputted it to the console. This is the basics of creating data-driven applications as well as input and output applications, and this is so vital to understand. If you are new, this is probably a lot. So if that's the case, always remember I have an entire Java series covering the basics of how to program. So if you were mainly getting caught up with, where to put things or what to type out, that series is probably a good thing to do a little bit of extra work after each one of these episodes. So go check out lists, go check out the while loop section. Anything that you're struggling with, go watch that video to make sure you're up to speed. So that's your homework if you're a beginner. If you're not a beginner, then I would encourage you to do a little bit of research of some of the other types of collections, as well as what I was talking about with the interface versus the implementation. You can do a little bit of more research on that to help you understand, because that's going to come up with the other collections. In the next episode, I think we're going to get into some of the more advanced collections, but I have a bad tendency of just changing my mind on the fly, so we'll see. And since we're done with this, what we're going to do is we're going to commit this step in GitHub so you can go back in the commits and get this code if you like. So where do I do that? We're going to do that here. Git status. We're just going to add everything. Git commit. We'll just say add input from file. And then we'll say git push origin master. Beautiful. So that should go up in GitHub. We'll just check it out. If you go into GitHub and then go to 30 Days of Java, you can go to the commits and see that one right here. Add input from file. You can see all of the changes I made. And yeah, pretty cool. So if you need any of the code, go there. You can find it. And thank you guys for watching. And don't forget to come back to the next episode. You need it. I need it. I need to practice. So thank you guys so much. And don't forget to subscribe.